Hello, Make That Paper listeners. Thanks for joining us.
Before we start the episode, we wanted to let you know about our brand new true crime podcast, The Girl with the Same Name, The Cold Case of Jaime Stickle, hosted by me, Jaime Stickle.
In 2002, a young woman in Pittsburgh by the name of Jaime Stickle was violently killed, and though the circumstances seemed to suggest she was murdered, the cause of her death was never officially determined, and her case was never solved.
For years, I have been confronted with the death of this woman I never knew, on job interviews, at business meetings, on dates. People would look me up on the internet and then ask me what I knew about the apparent murder of this person who shares my name. And I had no answers. So now we are going to try to find some.
Investigations have already begun. The first episodes will launch in late fall 2023. But we need your help.
Please support this investigative podcast by going to Kickstarter.com and search for The Girl with the Same Name. Your contribution will help us travel to Pittsburgh to investigate this story more deeply and to produce the highest quality podcast.
You can also get exclusive merchandise and content by backing this project.
So please visit Kickstarter today and help us seek justice for Jaime.
Thanks, everyone. Now let's get on with the show.
Welcome to Make That Paper, the show where we talk about all the crazy jobs we do to make the cash we need to pursue our artistic dreams.
And to pay for Ubers to and from the picket lines, because who wants to deal with parking?
Yes. We get to explore the reporter disorder, set sail with the singing server, and approach the audition coach. We are your hosts, Jamie Parker Stickle.
And Jason Bieber.
And guys, today is special. We have an amazing actress who holds the distinction of being the official voice of Disney's Snow White.
That and about a million other voiceover jobs. But you might also know her from her many TV appearances on shows like The List. It goes on and on.
She got her start in musical theater and has toured all over the U.S., but once upon a time, she was a Sigma Kappa at MSU at Michigan State. MSU Michigan State.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Weren't you a Sigma Kappa at Michigan State?
You know I was, and you don't get to know the secret handshake. Please welcome my sorority sister, the fantabulous Katie Von Till.
Yes.
Hi, guys.
You put so many
Hi.
I know.
I want to say, I know that she didn't put this in there, but I have the pleasure of knowing this, that she didn't just tour all over the U.S., she also worked in Japan.
I did work in Japan. Yeah, I was a singer at Tokyo Disneyland,
Which
I haven't been there, but we're going in September. And I haven't been since I worked there, so I'm really excited to go back and
that is amazing.
People and visit my old stomping grounds. But I just wanted to clarify, Jaime is not only my sorority sister, she is my little sister.
That's right. Katie was my big sister, and not only was she my big sis in the house, but she was also my actual roommate because it's college. So not just housemate, but we were roommates. So You know what? Every single one of you people that says, "Oh, tell Katie and I said hi. We go way back." Again, the answer is no. Katie and I go way back, but I'll tell her you said hello. I'll say our mutual friend says hello.
Far be it from me to invade your intimate relationship.
Yeah, get out, Jason. We actually don't even need you today. I'm so sorry. This is just for me and Stickle. We're just going to go over.
You two go. I'm going to have a snack.
Jaime, do you remember the one year we lived together? We were obsessed with Stickle and watch him. And that was when they were still driving the desk and stuff. That was our jam.
Yeah.
So got on there. I was like, Stickle will be so happy for me.
Yeah. I mean, it was like living with Katie and having the same dreams. When you're in Michigan, in a middle part of Michigan, not in a part of Michigan where I don't even think we had a film school, and part of my major was film. So all I did was watch films at night in this class, and didn't even have to turn papers in, no exams. We just talked about it as a discussion class. That's how far behind the what do you call it? When the curriculum was. Yeah. I mean, it's insane to me. It's insane to me that I had a roommate, let alone a person who wanted to be in LA as much as I did. I think from our sorority, we were the only to people I know.
Definitely us for acting, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. And it was so great, but it was also one of those things where I saw other people having a lot of fun in college, and Katie understood me better. Like, it was not fun. We were working our asses off to be young enough to get out fast enough to pursue playing 16 on television. Like, people have all these great memories.
We were in the sorority because we didn't have time for a social life. So the only way we were to have friends is if they lived down the hall.
I mean, it's so true. And anyways, okay, so we digress for a moment, because what I really want to talk about is we are on strike. So I think this is a good episode to talk about the things that Katie's done, because what I always say is that there are jobs in this industry that are more than side hustles. They're adjacent jobs, right? We've found something we love to do. We're passionate about it. And how do we make money in an adjacent position where we feel that we are still very close or integrated into our community, right? And that is exactly what Katie has capitalized on. And I think it's like extraordinary. And I think that this is the thing that people on strike right now need to know, that there are other avenues of making and fulfilling that creative side of yourself.
Oh, yes.
And God knows we're on strike. Yeah, babe.
And I'd like to just really quickly set the scene for folks at home, because this episode will come out probably in a few weeks. But as of the day we're recording, today is the day it happened. The actors are going on strike. It's official.
Yeah.
Joining the writers who have been on strike for 2 months now.
70 days.
Oh, gosh. Oof.
71 days.
I don't know how many months that is. How many months is that?
Did you read that thing out there? Like, oh, yeah, we're trying to starve them out of their apartment.
Yes.
We've been starving actors for years. Like, we can do this all day.
That's what I just want to say.
Starve us out.
Right.
Excuse
Most
me.
actors are working class, middle class folk. Like, you think that this was the only you were bread and buttering our toast? I'm sorry.
No.
We've been doing this shit, investing in real estate, finding means to put money aside for retirement. Like, we've been doing shit, man. This isn't going to work for actors.
Our kid's going to be so upset there'll be no Halloween episodes this year.
God dang it. He'll just have to watch repeats. I mean, that's my question next, you guys. I know, I digress again. But when do we stop watching? When do we cancel our streaming? Like, when?
I'm going to do it probably tonight or tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, I'm going to, that's not something that, like, technically the union's not allowed to say that, right?
Mhm.
Because that's like federal law, blah, blah, blah. But as actors, we need to spread the word. Like, we got to hit them in the pocketbook, right? Get your families to unsubscribe. Get everybody to unsubscribe. That's the only way we can, really show them that we matter.
Exactly.
We matter beyond our ability to contribute, but also we are their consumers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever in an audition who says that they don't watch television, I'm like, you're not in our business.
Right.
Well, I was thinking about this yesterday. When like other unions go on strike, you stand outside they have storefronts, they have businesses that you can interrupt with your strike. The studios, there's no commerce at these studios where we're striking. We're just, we're messing up the view from the executive's suite. But if we cancel subscriptions, if we get the word out that people have to take action that hits them, we've got some power. If we can get them to do it. I don't know which subscriptions I'm ready to let go of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
But what do we do when we cancel our subscriptions?
I don't know.
I'm sort of terrified, but I think that we can, like,
There are free things.
yeah,
out
I was just going to
there.
say.
You can actually, like, the library, you can get library stuff through what is it?
DVDs.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can
exactly.
Library and I got an antenna. I'm gonna try to get just
Oh
like
my
channels.
Yeah, I think that's
Katie's
great.
going to be talking to the aliens.
We're going to be watching Crackle and everything that Crackle has to offer, which is now...
Sony.
But no, it's kitchen. It's something like Soup for the Soul now. Chicken Soup for the Soul is like.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
They bought Crackle, right?
They bought Crackle.
The reason I think we can still watch network TV is because advertisers pay for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm all about, how do we lose that model? Oh, you want to pay for my entertainment? Great.
Mm-hmm.
Please do that. why do I got to pay too?
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so let's talk about this first. So I think you went to New York from school for like a year, right?
I was actually based there for 4 years.
Oh my
so I was there for
gosh.
quite a chunk. I was gone about half the time working other places like Tokyo Disneyland,
Yeah.
Dinner Theater in Jacksonville, Florida,
Nice.
summer stock in New England. I was gone a lot and subletting my place. And I thought, I can't actually make a living in the town I'm living in. I keep having to sublet my apartment. And I was standing outside the Equity building. It was 6:30 in the morning. It was 23 degrees outside. The building wasn't going to open for another hour. And then the sign-in wasn't going to start for another hour. And I said to the girl next to me, hold on, I'm going to go check where we are in line. I counted the line. I realized I was going to be 40th on the alternate list. I wasn't even going to get a slot, and I'm freezing my butt off. And I thought, I'm out of here. I can't do this anymore. So I moved to LA.
Yeah.
That's more.
Well, I love the strength that you had to like say, you know what, this isn't it. I'm leaving. But because 4 years is a little different than a year. Like you saturated yourself a bit. But I think the fact that all your jobs were taking you on the road someplace else, yeah, it made it a little bit easier. But I think it's interesting when you sublet in New York, were you losing money on that, or was that a way for you to make a little pocket change?
No, I lost money on it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Damn it.
Or I broke even. I lost money the first time I did it, and then I started breaking even. But the first time I subletted, I lost money.
That's because there was no Airbnb. God damn it.
I sublet it to a friend, but I had to entice her to do it, right? I had to be like, look, I'll give you a deal, and that had to, that was the thing. So
You got to find an
Yeah.
out-of-towner. You got to find the next rube getting off the bus.
that's what I did. I mean, she was an out-of-towner, but yeah, I had to. Like, come to New York, right? Come to New York. You can stay at my apartment. She's like, I don't know. And I'll be like, $400. And she came.
Oh, God, Katie.
Amazing.
So you're out there, you're in Wyoming doing Oklahoma, and like knowing that 15% of your paycheck is basically paying someone else's rent.
You betcha.
But you weren't paying room and board when you were on the road, right? Please tell me.
No, they pay for that.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
But before this, Katie was also sort of breaking in with her singing, and she was being flown to San Jose to sing the Star Spangled Banner before Sharks games.
Yeah, Sharks games, and I also did Sacramento Kings. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So she'd be like, "Oh, I can't do this tonight. I have to go. Where are you going? I'm flying to Northern California. I'll be back. And she was so matter of fact about it. I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. Don't worry.
It sounds like a plot line from Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a wealthy man is taking me on a flight somewhere. Don't worry about it.
It's going to pay for my education.
Yeah. Don't worry. It's all above board.
Uh-huh.
It's consensual. Last episode, I think we were talking about what we thought our guest was sex trafficking, and we were like, bro, this could be like a different podcast, and this might not be legal. Please tell us that.
Oh, no.
It's so funny. I can't, you guys. Every episode, somebody says something, and my mind immediately goes, is this child trafficking? Like, what are you saying right now? Speaking of child trafficking, Katie used to drive children around to auditions.
Yeah, that was one of my side hustles. Friends and I started this thing that we called Ready, Go, Set.
Yes.
And so what we would do is we'd like pick people's kids up from school and then like coach them on their audition, take them to their audition, and then take them home. We would chaperone them on set because their parents, we'd become their guardians for the day, get signed over as their guardians, and while their parents were working. And yeah, that was
Stage mom for hire.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing. And I don't understand. We'll talk about, it's a great model because now that Jack, we have an 8-year-old, and now that Jack is 8 and we see kids.
Oh my God, he's 8?
I mean,
Yeah.
Andy's very handsome.
Yeah.
But he's got such a good head on his shoulders. Like, he performs, but he
our agents are always like, we really want to send him on auditions. He's like, nah, I'm not into it. And I'm like, thank God. He likes to direct. He likes to be a DP. He likes to write the scripts. And I'm like, great, buddy. That's great. But I see his age group and people getting their children into this field, which I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to you about it, because it's never actors. It's always people that are like lawyers or corporate people or doctors or something. And I'm like, no, I'm anti this. But they can't take the time off. Like, and they have the money to spend for someone like you to do this. So
Yeah.
So this must have been lucrative at the time.
It was. The only reason I stopped it is because you can't leave people's children in the lurch.
Yeah.
And I would like, if I got an audition, or I booked a job, you can't do that to somebody's kid. It's one thing when you're coaching an adult to be like, hey, can we reschedule? But you can't do that when somebody's literally depending on you to chaperone their child. So I had to shutter it. But I actually, and it's been such a long time, I still get random messages from moms saying, I found out about your business. Can you work Tuesday? Yeah.
I feel like, one, you didn't need to shutter it. You need a stable of reliable
Sure.
people.
Yeah, think of the background checks. Think of the like fingerprinting, the insurance, the liability. When you're not doing it yourself, you're entrusting an employee. That's a lot of frickin' work when you're trying to be a full-time actor.
You know how controlling I am, Jamie. There was no way I could. I don't have that much trust in other people.
As you shouldn't. No, I'm 100% on board with that.
Anybody wants to buy it from me, let me know.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
You sell that business model. That's good.
Did you ever take any kids to your auditions that came up last minute, or like when you're with them, it's all about them?
All about them.
And did you turn down any auditions because of it, or any?
I think just one, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't make it happen. But that was the impetus to be like, this is not going to work, because as my career was taking off a little bit, and I went from really having a lot of free time to not having quite so much free time, and so I had to drop it.
Yeah.
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 And there were 3 of you or 2 of you.
Yeah. So same with the other two. So my friend Lisa, Michigan State, and Joanna, Michigan State. Joanna DeGeneres and Lisa Lennox, both Michigan State grads, and my 2 best pals. And we did it together. But then Joanna's head shop business took off.
Yeah.
Lisa started going out more. So none of us could do it.
Yeah.
So that was.
But it was
That was
You needed less successful friends.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing is at some point that people, what we get into trouble with is, oh, this is fulfilling in a way that I'm making money and security, and it feels so good because I am contributing to my business. But then how is that stifling to your own goals and dreams, right? Like,
all the golden handcuffs, right?
Exactly.
Right.
That's why I always tell people, like, don't get the fancy apartment. Don't get a car lease. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do that stuff. Don't do it.
Shackle yourself.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely don't buy a place on your first show. So many people do, or they buy an expensive car and then it's canceled. And then it's like, well, how was that life for 8 months? Was it good for you? Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always, speaking of the sorority house, I basically created another sorority house for me here.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I live in a house that, after I lived here for about a year, my parents were selling a rental property in the Bay Area, and they had to get another rental property, as you guys I'm sure know, for the 1031 tax exchange.
Yeah.
They thought, well, you're in LA now. Why don't we buy something down there, and then you can manage it and rent it with your friends, and we don't have to worry about it. It'll just be totally passive for us. And I thought,
Nice.
great. So I've actually lived with as many as 6 people in this house.
At the same time.
Yes. And I was married at that point.
Well, okay, so you have it's a full house, and then you have an income property below, like the bottom.
Well,
floor
all of
is
it goes. Yeah. So the bottom floor has its own like separate entrance, and so actually, that's still rented out now. The main house is now just me and my boyfriend, but I was married to my first husband and had 6 people living upstairs and somebody in the downstairs.
Oh my gosh. It's
Now,
amazing.
do you put like tape on the floor to determine whose area?
No, no.
Okay.
And I gotta tell you, I loved it. I love communal living. And during the pandemic, I had friends who lived alone who were just miserably lonely.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend communal living.
So let me
Highly.
ask you this about it. At any point in time, did you stop paying rent? Like if you had 6 people and you divided theirs and then you just lived for free, so you had that sort of, oh, see, Katie is like so equal. This is amazing. So what you did was cut your costs out and output so that you could live and survive with your acting, your bread and butter jobs, which is voiceover, Snow White. So you're voicing a lot of the Snow White dolls and toys and things that.
Toys when she shows up in like animated programs, commercials. And then like live shows that they do in other parts of the world. So like, when you see a parade in, Shanghai or a castle show there, the gal, the face character of Snow White is lip syncing to me.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
that's a little wild.
Well, they're very, Disney is really protective of their IP, right? So for example, I'm not the voice of Snow White. The voice of Snow White is Adriana Caselotti, and I am voice matching her. Right? She's the voice. She will always be the voice.
Right.
She's obviously no longer alive.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was in 1937. But so I'm voice matching her. But they want it. They want to keep the consistency. They want it to feel seamless, like nothing's changed.
So here's a question for you that speaks, and I would like to get back to your jobs, but this is right at the heart of what the actor strike is about, and that's AI. And you are basically doing that, like the prime job that AI is looking to replace.
Yeah, I've voice matched other people too. I've done quite a bit of voice matching for things as simple as like a radio television promo where they can't quite get the sound mix from the show to work on the radio, right? So they need it to bump it up and the actor isn't available, things like that. Or things like video games where the celebrity turns it down, right? They're offered it, of course. Yeah. And then they're like, I don't have time and it's not, I can't, I'm committed somewhere else. That they use someone like me. And now they'll, the hope is for that person, because I believe everybody should own their likeness, that they can simply license their voice to be used with AI, but be paid as if they were working in person, because they should, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to eliminate a lot of jobs for people like me who do voice matching.
Mm-hmm. But your point of view is actually that's fair, that's not a problem, because the original actor is licensing their own voice.
Yeah, if that's what's happening, right?
Okay.
If it's not that, then I have a real problem with it. And the thing is with with things like characters, that's not the actor. They're doing a voice. So actually, they don't own the voice of the character, if that makes sense. So they could get someone to voice match it, such as myself, and then AI that, right? And then they're using me. It just depends, right? But if it is their legit voice, like those people in a promo, for their own show, or they're literally using their own speaking voice, and it's not a character, then I think it's appropriate. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
People to be paid. I just want people to be paid as if they did the work.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that more deeply. But we're going to back up and talk about some funny stuff first, because I think you guys who are listening, we have so many Midwest listeners. It's insane. And I don't think that they understand.
Hello, Midwest.
Hello, Midwest.
Hold for helicopter.
Oh, helicopters.
Okay,
we love them. They're so fun. I don't think they understand all the nuance of the strike and that a guild versus a union and all that. So, we're peppering it in these episodes this summer. But also, it's surprising always to them to know about the business, how there are, like, you're a voice match. That's part of acting. And that is something that has given you a living. That and voiceover in general, like commercials and things of that nature, which has sustained you as being employed and having health benefits and all that jazz. And that is surprising to a lot of people. So there's so many avenues of acting that don't necessarily mean that you are a star of a show. You know, this is called the middle class acting. This is a worker's job. You know, we're the line people. So we'll get to all of that. But first, I didn't know this one about you, and I always feel that I know everything about you, but I did not know that you were a radio news reporter. What the fudge?
Jamie, it was the summer after I graduated MSU. I was there for that summer to finish my second degree.
Yeah.
And I was really bored out of my mind, and I needed to make some money, and I went to like the career center at MSU.
I do remember this now. Oh my God.
There was like a posting for like radio news reporter, and I was like, I don't know, sure, why not?
I can do that.
I drove up, I call them, I get an interview, I drive over there, and fun story, I got the job because when she asked me to read, I just voice matched her. So she heard her own delivery and her own voice coming back at her to a degree. Right? And she was like, you sound great. And I was like,
Oh, do
yeah.
I?
Yeah.
Now, did you practice? Did you listen to her show
But she
beforehand? Or
couldn't
you were
have.
just in the
She just
room?
was in the room.
No. But I had sat and watched her do the news a couple of times.
Well, yeah,
And
that's
then-
my question. Yeah.
Yeah. I sat and watched her do it, and she showed me how everything works and everything, and then she had me read some copy, and I just mimicked her.
How long did that last? Did that lasted through the whole summer when you were finishing up?
I just did it for like 6 weeks while I was still there, and then I quit.
Yeah.
And it was a hell of a job. I had to be there at 4:30 in the
Yep.
morning on Saturdays. I had to get there, call the police, try to get sound bites, try to get stories, and then I was also in charge of covering city council meetings on Monday nights. So it was really thrilling.
Yeah. So I didn't know that it's another thing that the two of you have in common, because Jamie was also in the news.
Yeah, it's that exciting. It's that thrilling. It just as Katie explained it.
So wait a second. So when you were a reporter, you said that your first broadcast was a doozy. What happened?
Oh yeah.
I had to be there at 4:30 in the morning, and I had to call police officers and stuff like that. And you had to make the, I don't even know, were they like 8 tracks or something? Those giant cassettes. I don't even know what they were, but you had to pull stuff off the AP wire. You had to pull sound bites off the AP wire. You had to get sound bites from the police, blah blah blah. And I was told to be there like an hour before my broadcast, and I did not know what I was doing. So my first broadcast was from your 24-hour newsroom. I mean, I was a disaster. I was stumbling over my words. I was putting in the wrong tapes. It was such a cluster F that a listener called me on the phone and told me how bad I was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this is 5:30 in the morning, the first broadcast, and they were like, "That was a disaster. What are you doing there?" And it was embarrassing and a learning experience. Because she showed me everything. And I thought, I got it, it's good. But when the pressure is on for reporting, right? It's I wasn't expecting the panic, the adrenaline. It was a slightly different thing than I was used to. Of course, I was used to going on stage, but I'm used to being rehearsed a lot. And, I'd never done anything like that. And I think she almost trusted me too much because I did such a good job imitating her. And she also took me out to interview people on the street with her that day about a story that was going on. And, I can talk to people. So that wasn't an issue. Those things are easy for me.
Yeah.
But the technical stuff and then figuring out how to lay out a newscast, even though it was only 5 minutes, I did not do well.
Yeah, 5 minutes is harder than a half-hour show. So I had to go through this. I had to do radio, audio, sound, and everything at school, and they tested us on a 20-minute show,
But we'd been practicing on half-hour shows, and Lansing was still using 8 tracks, and this was in the late 90s, and they were still using them in the 2000s, and those were your commercials. But your timing, they beat it into your head that the station will get a citation if you don't make it at like 8:21. If you don't call out the station numbers and play this advertisement from this company, we will get a citation. We will get dinged. We will have to pay money. And all that's on you. And you're like, holy crap, how do these guys do this? Yeah, it's a lot.
A lot of pressure. And so for a first timer who's literally just graduated, but technically still in college with my other thing, I didn't know what the heck was going on. And I was a theater major. I didn't do telecom. I didn't know any of that stuff. I didn't know any of it. And so I really botched it. And a listener called me out on it.
What an asshole. Like, I don't need you to tell me I did bad. I know I did bad.
No, it's my first day. I've never done it before. He ended up, I think, by the end, it was a man. He ended up by the end being like, I'm so sorry. Don't worry. You've got this. It'll be okay.
Oh my God, the groveling we have to do as women.
Yeah, and then I had another one an hour later, and he called me and said that was much better.
How did you get this number?
Oh my God.
It's called there was a number to the news.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Small
This was
town.
a country radio station, and it was a country radio station. It wasn't like a news station, right?
Right.
So it was just a small part of a larger programming, right?
Yeah.
So they could just call into the newsroom and talk to me, and
you answered.
Yeah.
I answered.
Well, now they do this thing, because I did this job in recent years, in the last decade, where they have, when these big conglomerates came up and bought up all the stations, but so they have subsidiary, like, in-house groups that do all that work now, so that the DJs, all they do is they rip and read, they call it. So I was writing the news bits, and it would go out to every single station they owned in the country. And then the station DJs would just rip it and then read it from the printer the way I wrote it. And that was really fucking hard too, to be a writer for that. And they're like, you have to get 20 stories done in 8 hours. And you have like 17 resources you have to read through to get everything. And I was like, I couldn't do it. It was taking me 16 hours in my first month, and I was getting paid for 8. And I was like, I have a baby, and I can't do this anymore, because nursing and reading at the same time is really hard.
Like, I only have so many hands. I'm either going to drop the book or the book or the baby.
Oh my God. And then they were like, we need you to watch the live CMTs tonight and write 5 pieces. And I was like, I don't have regular television. I just have streaming. And they were like, what? They were like, who doesn't have television? And I was like, actors.
Me, I don't. Yeah.
And this was before everything was live streaming.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Sure.
And this was like 7 years ago.
You're like, I'm saving money. I got back to the, like, how do we make this work, right? We cut costs.
We cut costs.
You're like, I'm not doing cable. It's too expensive. I'm gonna get one thing and be done.
Cable is so expensive. Can we talk about why is cable always so expensive? Even now, it's so expensive.
And then now, if you also want cable, you're paying twice as much, because now you're paying for all the streamers also.
Right,
has to
because
be a
they're
whole
included.
package. Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to. So I imagine after that stressful job, I think this was in New York, you had another job that part of it is more in your wheelhouse, but part of it also seems really stressful. You were a singing waiter.
Yeah.
on a boat.
Yeah.
I couldn't even be a waiter.
Oh yeah, I was a singing waiter on the Spirit of New York, which are there was also the Spirit of the Hudson and the Spirit of New Jersey. There are 3 boats, but the whole thing was called Spirit of New York. And there's Spirit of wherever there's like these bodies of water, or at least there used to be. And they're basically like tourist boats where you come on and have a meal and get some drinks, and you go around like the Statue of Liberty. And we had like a show, and you'd have to, like, sit on somebody's lap, sing Santa Baby. You'd have to convince somebody to put on a Tina Turner wig and come join the show and sing Proud Mary. When we got to the Statue of Liberty, you had to sing Proud to be an American, all while serving.
Wow.
Oh God, no. It's such a conflict of status.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
You also lost me at sitting in people's laps. Like,
Yeah, different time.
Different time.
People's laps and sing Santa Baby, and then like have somebody put on a wig from a box. You'd never put a wig from a box that probably has lice in it on some passenger. Like,
Oh,
that's
God,
so
no.
unsanitary. I can't even. But we learned these whole little shows with like dance routines and the whole thing, and yeah, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
Did you get tipped, or was it like a?
Tipped, but it was because it was like a fixed thing. They only paid for cocktails, right? So they would tip you on your cocktails, and so our wages were a bit higher.
Yeah.
So that you weren't getting tipped on the meal, basically.
Right.
But were you getting paid separately for being an actor and being a? I mean, like, that's
You're hilarious, Jamie. That's people not taking advantage of
I
people.
know. I mean, I'm just so like, Jesus Christ. I mean, listen, I did the auto shows sort of in the same.
I did that for a half second. Yeah. It's like ridiculous.
I don't know. I sort of feel like the auto shows was the one place that didn't, and maybe because it wasn't out of Hollywood, it was out of Detroit. Like, they actually paid decently, and your per diem was good, and they put you in nice hotels and things like that. But it's a shit job. And people, anytime you have to be a performer interacting without a fourth wall with your public,
people are terrible.
People are terrible. They think that they can touch you and they can say things to you that are inappropriate, and you feel very quickly like, is this 1842 and I'm actually supposed to be a whore at the end of this? Like, what's happening right now?
It's the oldest profession. It is the oldest profession. It all ties back to that.
It all ties back. It's wild.
So singing waiter, union job, equity, non-equity,
No.
Nothing.
audition or hiring?
Audition.
And
You had to sing.
was waiting a part of the audition, or was it just
No.
straight singing and dance? Okay.
That's straight singing, and I'd never waited tables before, so
Really?
it was a very fast learning curve.
And you never waited tables since?
No,
No. Same. I did it one night and I was like, yeah, nope. I can't do this.
Back to the people are terrible. That's it, right? People are just terrible to waiters and servers, just awful.
It's unhealthy how it's unhealthy that people don't understand. You could have a Yale Drama School graduate with an MFA serving you a steak dinner and you will still talk to them like shit, as though they didn't even like they didn't have a mom and dad, or they just like appeared in the world to serve you or something. Like, there's such
They have no life. They have no intelligence. They're just a robot with flesh.
right. There's such a caste system. It's so bad. It's really terrible.
I felt that completely,
Yeah.
and that's why I got out of it really quickly. I did it for like maybe 8 months or 6, a really short period of time.
Yeah.
And as soon as I had an opportunity to leave, I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember my mother was always very against me pursuing this profession, acting, and
Wasn't your mom a model or
Yeah.
something?
she was a model, yeah. So there's a little hypocrisy there, but you know,
Mom.
yeah, it worked out for you. But I remember being, teenager. She took me to lunch somewhere on the Upper East Side. I want to say it was Serafina, and she, in her very loud Israeli voice, said, "See our waiter? He's probably an actor." And I made eye contact with him, and I'm like,
Don't serve us,
go,
sir.
man.
Oh, no.
But and he flirted with me, but and I think but
feel good.
yeah, that felt good. That felt good. But and that burned her ass, which made both of us feel good. But but that was the moment that I decided that no matter what I did to support myself in this industry or outside of this industry, it would never be the stereotype, just so she would be wrong about that.
Sure. And that not to
Yeah.
say that like it can be very lucrative.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
friends who are waiters who absolutely kill.
Yeah.
And they love it because they love the flexibility. I've actually have people also who it jump started their careers because they'd have regulars, and then those regulars would turn out to be in the business.
Of course.
Like, oh, I can help you. Like, I've heard that story at least half a dozen times.
Yeah.
If you are really good at it, and you meet people and you network, and it's a way to get yourself out of your house if you're not good at leaving your house. It can also be like a jump start for your networking skills, people skills. So I know people who love it and have killed at it, but for me, not good. I am not good.
Yeah.
I also have no upper body strength. I don't have any arm strength,
Yeah.
so I can't carry.
Yeah, I feel like it always, did the hostessing thing because the waiting thing didn't work for me. And I tried the hostessing thing for a while. And I think it's the places you pick too.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So like you were on a touristy thing. I hosted at BB King's at Universal. So it was another touristy place. So if you want to make the money and you want to be integrated into the community, don't pick tourist spots to do this shit at. Yeah, like go to the local spots. But bartending, I have friends who still bartend, and I'm like, but how are you up all night at 40? Like, why are you doing that to your body? Like,
Are they exhausted? They must be
exhausted all the time. And
But they make like $3,000 in a night.
But they make $3,000 in a night.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So I say bartending's where it's at, but those jobs are so hard to get. So fucking hard.
Even waitressing or waitering or serving here in LA is tough. People have to like take resumes and go to play. Like, it's tough because people, when they get that good job, they hold on to it.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
leave. Yeah.
Yeah. They need to book something for that job to become available.
Yeah, and they need to drive the same car for 20 years, and
Which you
save
did.
money by having classmates. Yeah, I drove the same car for since I was 16.
Yeah, so you had no car payment, you had insurance payment, but that was like pretty cheap.
And it was pennies, because when your car's worth nothing, you pay like nothing, right? And so I didn't need to insure my car because my car was worth nothing. So you just need to insure everybody else. So even though I had a big policy because my
And you were driving a Miata, so you weren't going to hurt anybody.
No, it's like a hamster car. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Jack's 8. I'm thinking about getting him a Miata.
Yeah.
He did ask us for a third car, and he goes, I think we should get a third car for when I'm ready to drive. And I'm like, bro, it'll be old by the time you're able to drive. And are you still going to want it then? And he's like, yeah, it'll be a classic. Wow.
Oh, no.
He's-
He's such a little man.
He really is. He understands the assignment.
Yeah. Yeah, but I learned to drive stick on that car when I was 16. It was my dad's car. And then when I moved to LA, he gave it to me, which was actually I bought it from him for $1. And so I got really lucky. You know, other people were like, oh, I don't want to drive an old car, and I had all these friends getting leases, and then they had to like stay with their day jobs, and I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Couldn't give people rides, but
Which was a great thing, Jason.
Yeah.
Nobody can ask you to take them to the airport if you cannot fit their luggage.
Yeah. It's pretty smart.
exactly.
I've just always been pretty honest about it. Like, if you're going out of Burbank and you live close to me, absolutely. But I'm never taking you to LAX.
Not on your life.
No, not even if you pay
I
me.
started dating my boyfriend, and like on the 4th date, I told him 2 things. I said, I do not camp, and I will never take you to LAX.
That's smart. I told Jason I'd never camp, and he still has forced me to do it. And I'm like, this relationship is going nowhere. It's dead. You're dead to me. You made me camp.
Yeah. Terrible.
But you're
Here we
shame
are.
14 years later. I can't believe it's been 14 years. Okay, but that brings me to your next job, because I remember you doing this one. This one I remember. You were a headhunter cold caller for an attorney recruiter.
Which
Yeah, so actually-
is somehow your weirdest job. I need to know what happened.
Hey,
But did you get this through a temp agency? Because this is such a temp agency job.
I got it on Backstage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah.
Backstage. Oh, for our Midwesterners, Backstage is the trade magazine we actors go to look for auditions, headshots, all the actor
jobs.
stuff. Yeah, odd jobs. It used to be a newspaper. Now it's a
Online.
website.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was still in New York at the time, so it was the New York Backstage, and they were, it's in like the want ads type. I guess they must have had want. Oh no, it was just like a little like an ad somewhere on a page, right?
Yeah.
And I think they thought, well, actors will be good at cold calling. So
You're good at
I
rejection.
went in,
Mhm.
so I went in and I, auditioned for them and got the job, worked there for about a year. And then that's when the thing happened with the being cold outside sitting on the pavement. And I was like, I'm moving to LA. And they said, oh, we have a friend who we, work with in LA. Let's see if he'll hire you. And they called him and he's like, yeah, I'll hire her. So I went to LA with a job.
It's great.
Which
Yeah.
was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And it was part-time. I could make my own hours, which was fantastic. But the reason it was weird
Yeah.
is because I wasn't great at getting candidates per se, but I got a lot of offers for dates. A lot. And I went on
Just from
and
your
I
voice.
went on some of them, just from my voice. And I realized, I was like, oh, these people are really lonely. Like these firms really, I mean, they run these guys ragged. These guys have no chance of like meeting anybody. And, you'd start to talk to them, you'd tell them what you do. And as soon as they found out, oh, I was an actress and I was, the Little Mermaid at Tokyo Disneyland, they were like, when can I take you to dinner? When can I take you to dinner?
Is this how you met
So
your
I got-
husband?
It's not. It's
Oh,
not.
God.
I know. Wouldn't that be amazing? I do have an amazing story about how I met my boyfriend, though. But anywho, so I got a lot of dates out of it. And then
Oh, you went
also-
on the dates.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Why
okay.
not? She's new to LA.
Yeah, and I did it in New York, too. One guy in New York was like, I'm going to take you to see The Lion King. And that's when Lion King, like, you couldn't get a ticket, right?
Yeah.
And then I show up to the date, and he's like, I couldn't get tickets. We're seeing Les Mis. And I was like, I see Les Mis 30 But,
Les Mis is not a date show, bro.
it's a date, dude.
If
Yeah.
you're gonna phone it in, at least go to Phantom.
At least that's about romance.
Yeah.
Or cats,
Yeah.
because you can laugh. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, I mean,
No couple survived Les Mis.
no. So he took me to see them. Needless to say, I did not go out with him again. And then I ended up, when I moved here to LA, same thing. Got tons of dates out of it. None of them were good. And then the other thing that happened is my boss was
No one
on
wants
the
to go to the
old-
Pantages anyway.
No.
Yeah, no. My boss was on the older side, and he was like, I don't know, maybe 73 or 74 when I started working for him. And, he'd been in the business a long time. So he wasn't that interested in working, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel that way now.
Yeah. Been hustling for a long time.
Yeah, true. And so he would have me do other things. For example, help him fill out his divorce paperwork.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Help him with his J-date profile.
Great.
Go through all the women on the J-date and help him pick women he should ask out.
Yeah.
So, and that might sound terrible, and it was fantastic.
It's the best job ever.
Absolutely fantastic. My friends used to call him Mr. Pitt, like on Seinfeld. He was just a nut. And he'd be like, Katie, he'd always send me like scam email, like the prince of wherever trying to get $1 million. And he's like, is this one real? Like is this one real? Like constantly. No, Barry, they're never real. They're never real. They're always a scam. Do not give anybody your bank account information. It's not real. It's not real. He'd have me like come over to his house and fix his computer there and like fix his refrigerator. And like, I mean, the man was just a really smart, really kind, but a mess in his like day-to-day living stuff, right? He
Yeah,
was
the
just terrible.
20th
the
century was a
divorce.
bit much for him.
Hence the divorce. But you've got clients like this too, Jason. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
you own an IT company. Why are you going over to like weed out their photo file? Like I don't understand why. And Jason
Because they
was like,
scanned their fucking pictures, so now it's IT work.
so Jason was looking at personal photos of this family for the longest time, and I was like, I'm not sure. Didn't you see like a full nude of your client once? And you're
I've
like,
seen
I
seen
mean, just
so much inappropriate stuff. And I have a client who specifically sends me 2 to 3 emails a week, asking if they're spam. But we've kind of narrowed it down, so it's just a one-word email. Hoax? ? Hoax. Period. That's it. And the natural segue to your best hustle, Katie's
Yes.
best hustle.
Yes.
What was it? Look at what I said.
You said coaching actors,
yeah.
coaching auditions.
actors. Yeah, so I coach actors on their auditions and just like audition technique. And the reason I love it is because it becomes like, you know, sometimes where you still have that like magic moment of like seeing somebody just nail it. And I don't know, there's something about watching somebody just nail a scene or nail a character that is like just fills my cup, right? It absolutely fills my creative cup. And you know, we're talking about ways of, you know, when you're creative people, how do you find ways to fill that, you know, creative desire when you're not being hired by somebody else, right? And for me, that's making things with my friends, right? Making movies or shorts or web series or whatever, and then coaching other actors. And I absolutely love it. And also I love it because I have a very, I don't keep clients. I have this thing where I want to teach you what I know, and then I want you to go away. And then if you need me, you can come back or whatever. But I always ask them, you know, what's an acting teacher's job? And they say, oh, to teach me about acting, to make me. And no, it isn't. Their job is to get you to come back to class, right? That's their job. Their job is to get you in there like a little cult and take your money forever on this in this industry that has become harder and harder to make a living in. Like you're not going to get a return on this investment. So I say, come learn, you know, the few things I have to teach you. I'll teach you. If you need me to read with you for a specific audition or coach with you for a specific audition, I'll do that too. But as far as like ongoing, just regular coaching, I say I don't. I don't do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great pitch, but that's a terrible business model. Or is it?
But it's not, because I'm the same way. Like, I don't teach writing classes, so I teach storytelling and writing. But listen, I'm also a professor, so I teach undergrads, and they don't come back to me for a second class. When their semester's over, their semester's over. And I love that, but we stay in touch now. We're equals. Now you're in this business. Now we're, you know, now you can call me friend, and we can follow each other on Instagram. But with like my writing classes independently of my students that I love to do, it's the same thing. Like I teach the same thing because I don't want to have like this level class, this level class, this level class. I want to show you how to go deeper in your story where you feel comfortable and confident. And then if you need me to help edit, if you get stuck in a place, then you and I can work on that one-on-one. But yeah, I don't want to develop a curriculum where I'm teaching the same people over and over and over.
Yeah, that's also not creative for me, right? That's not creative for you to have the same thing over and over.
No, it's a dead end.
So to have the constantly rotating client list has been, you know, like I have to coach somebody at 2 who I haven't seen in forever. And I'm really excited not only to coach her, but to say, how's it going? You know, I helped her get some representation. Like, are you getting out? How's it working? You know, and I feel like this is they can become more my peers and my friends when we don't have that super structured teacher-student relationship. Exactly. And so that's why I find it so fulfilling. I've become probably a little bit over-invested in their careers. So I do feel the pain of jobs they don't get and stuff like that, and when they're having a hard time finding reps, which is why I always try to introduce people to as many people as I can to see if anybody can help anybody else out. But so that is the one downside. But as far as it being a way to make a little extra cash, but also a way to feel like a creative,
I do a class now where it's pay what you can, and if that means you can't pay anything, like we're still going to do this because I believe in your creative process and I believe in the creator. So, you know, it is what it is. And listen, for the love of God, the people that need life coaches and coaching are the people that can't fucking afford it. Okay? Like, we're the people struggling. So to force us to continue to out of pocket to make our careers better is such a shitty fucking model. That's not cool, man. That's not cool.
Yes. Well, I have no cancellation policy. You can cancel the moment we're supposed to start coaching because I believe that you're not an asshole, right? You're coaching, you're canceling for a reason that you need to cancel, right? You're not just being a jerk, right? I need to believe that you're a good person and something has happened, right? And as actors, we have no control over our schedule. So I think we could all use a little bit of like leniency in that area. And then the other thing is I bill by 15 minutes. So if you schedule an hour and we take a half an hour, you don't owe me the hour. You owe me the half an hour.
Yeah.
Like I'm sick and tired of people bilking people for money everywhere they can. And particularly like all this like coaching stuff, speaking of like career coaching, acting coaching, all this stuff has exploded.
Oh,
since
yeah.
the
There's a whole
like-
industry on teaching people how to be that.
Oh my God, it's such an MLM in and of itself.
big time MLM.
Yeah.
Yep. Pyramid scheme, people. Don't do it. Walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's sad. It's really awful.
it's sad, and it preys on people's vulnerabilities, and it preys on young people. So, which is one reason I love teaching undergrad, and I get the seniors, so juniors and seniors. So I feel so privileged that I'm teaching them the industry that they want to be in and able to get to them before the industry gets to them. Right. And say these things like, listen, you're going to be in places of frustration. You're going to hit walls. You're going to have A, B, and C. We just need more people to tell people to stop. And it's incredible to me, and you'll agree with this, I'm sure, when people go, well, it's not my job to like rock the boat or tell, and I'm like, it is your job. It is your job. If like,
a fellow human being.
if nobody spoke up to Hitler, what the fuck, man? Because he wasn't hurting you, so you don't say anything? Like, Jesus.
That's why they tell us not to talk about the money we make, right? It's like
Yeah.
employers don't want you to talk about the money you make because they don't want to pay people.
They don't
right?
wanna pay
It's all-
people.
I try to talk about money all the time.
Yeah, same.
We need to not rude. We need to normalize that.
Same,
and
100%.
feel.
And
Yeah.
that by the way goes beyond actors. That's all
Industry.
I mean, women need to talk about it.
Yes,
Men need
yes,
to talk
yes.
about it in support of women. People of color need to talk about
Yeah.
it because it is
Otherwise we
unequal
don't
and
know.
no one knows.
That's right. That's right. They want to keep us silent. It's how the man keeps us down.
Yeah.
The other thing I have a side hustle that I find super duper rewarding because it relates to this is I teach people how to track their commercial residuals.
I love this job.
And I teach people, you'd be surprised, you guys, how many actors don't know what unemployment is.
Yeah. Oh, no.
They
I
really know.
I learned about it late. My aunt actually told me. She's like, Jamie, you've been paying into unemployment. You need to go collect unemployment because you're unemployed. And I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. And I just saw a gal at a happy hour a couple nights ago, and she's like, I never applied for unemployment until you told me about it. And I was like, wow, because I've a couple times I have people like, I'll just invite a group of people over and say, come over to my house and I'll teach you how to do all this for free, right? I'm just gonna, or maybe one time I did it for like, bring a donation to this thing. But aside from just, I do charge if people want me to do it individually, yes. Because there are people who then use me as their personal Google and call me and ask me every other question. And it's like, dude, no.
That's a job. It's a job.
Google it yourself. Yeah. So I learned not to do that. But I'm happy to do it. Like my agents have brought me in to talk to their whole client list.
Yeah.
I've done that a couple of times,
That's
right?
great.
Happy to do a big thing like
Yes.
that where hit a lot of people at once.
Yeah.
Right? They can pay it forward and it can become this like snowballing thing, right? Because I just want actors to have money in their pockets. I just want them to be able to pay their rent, eat their food, raise their kids, and live in this city and be an available workforce for the people who need us to be available to work.
Yeah.
Mic drop. And
Well,
that's why Katie
Katie,
Von Til-
thank you very much.
Well, Katie's going to be the next SAG president. So,
Oh, don't say that. People have said that to me in the past, and I was like, I will do it if I can do it in secret.
yeah.
Because there are ways to like do it where nobody knows. Because I think I'm good at that type of stuff. I do. I've sat on the board and on chair committees and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I don't like the attention. I don't like the like politicking and the mudslinging and the. I don't like politics.
Yeah.
But I like making things run well.
Yeah, because whenever politics is involved, no matter how great, perfect, wonderful you are, they are going to say bad, nasty, hateful things to you and about you. And I think that is something that people should know, why a lot of people don't always step up to the plate for that. Like Jason Bieber, I always say, and his mom says you should run for local government. Like,
you're so pragmatic and great and diplomatic, but
I don't want to.
Yeah, but I feel you, Jason, on the not wanting to run for public office. Those jobs are terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Mhm.
And also the same
Thankless.
thing with the SAG stuff. And the SAG stuff, though,
Yeah.
SAG after stuff is volunteer.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You don't get any money.
Girl.
You just get beaten
Beaten up.
to a pulp.
Yeah. And from what I've seen, it doesn't move anyone's careers forward.
Oh, God. Well, no.
No.
No, it's just, people are like, oh, you got elected. And I'm like, or it's full of power. And I'm like, power to give up my free time? I'm not sure.
Mhm.
What?
With great power comes great responsibility.
I guess so.
I mean,
was like,
yeah,
"All right."
it's like interning. If I ever want to be a professional advisor in a political office, maybe, but that seems like a stretch at this point because I'm an actor and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Not a stretch that I couldn't, but I don't want to. Like, I remember the day I said to my dad, oh, I want to be a pediatrician on television. Like, I'll never forget that moment. I think I was like 12, and I think it was maybe ER. I don't know, but I was like, I want to be a pediatrician on TV. And he was like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, smart ass, Jamie.
It's true.
Always. From day one.
This
I know.
this has been amazing. I'm so happy to see your gorgeous
has.
face, and
Very gorgeous face.
I'm so glad that we got to talk a little bit about everything. And I know it's not easy for actors to come on and talk about all this shit. But the thing is, like, if it's an important thing for audiences to know, especially now that we're on strike, why we're on strike and like how hard we actually work every day. We're not just sitting around, waiting for people to call us to audition. We're hustling constantly. And
Yeah.
I want people to know that.
But I do want people to remember, like, it's not just about making money, it's about saving money.
Yeah.
Yes.
For me, it's living very frugally, right? It's living as frugally as you can, because it doesn't matter how much money you're making if you're spending it.
Yeah, 100%.
Totally.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.
You call me lazy, you think I'm crazy, so why'd you come around? She want my money, but I got no money. This ain't no savings and loan.